It's a classic dilemma in asset allocation. Do you go for maximum return or minimize risk? For most investors, the answer to that question depends on their unique needs and goals. How long until retirement? When will they need the money? What's their comfort level with risk? Now, in many portfolios, risk and return are balanced with a mix of stocks and corporate bonds. Historically, stocks provide greater return, but more risk, and bonds aren't as risky, but generally offer less return. So what if there was an alternative that could provide the same risk protection, but with upside potential and other benefits? A fixed indexed annuity is an alternative strategy that can do just that. Now, joining me is Bruce Weinstein with Premier Southwest Planning Group in Scottsdale, Arizona. Bruce, let's begin by telling us how a fixed indexed annuity actually works.
Well, first of all, there's a lot of misconception about fixed index annuities too, because one of the hardest things to explain to clients is that it's really not one investment. It's really a contract that has two different benefits going on. So picture this annuity as, and I just said this to a client of mine, as a savings account offered from the insurance company, okay? And this savings account is going to make money, okay? It's got a 0% guarantee, or some of them could be fixed that just have a fixed guarantee for a certain amount of years. Well, let's assume that this savings account that you put money in has a 0% rate guarantee. And the savings account is like a CD where they're going to have you put it in there, and it's going to have to stay there for, 5 years, 7 years, or 10 years, the way you set up the contract. And so you're always going to have this savings account no matter what. You cannot lose money. Well, the interesting part is that in the investment part of that savings account, there could be participation where you make some money on the investment. And so index means it's invested in some sort of index. It could be one that's offered by the Standard & Poor 500, or it could be one that's offered by very specific financial institutions that you participate in. So no matter what, you have a contract that has a guarantee that you'll make no less than zero, even if it loses money, or you can make different types of rates of return depending on what you're invested in. Well, the other side of the contract is the insured part of the contract. So insurance companies have the benefit of pooling lots of people's money. So I have a savings account, and I have the other side, which is an insurance portion, where we guarantee through the insurance company a growth rate of anywhere between 6 to 8%, and an income rate, depending how old you are, between 4 to 7%. You have a guaranteed growth rate and a guaranteed income rate separate from the bank account. And that is why annuities are very attractive when you look at the right kind of annuity depending on your specific concerns or needs.
So Bruce, how is this different than a variable annuity?
The similarity in them is that they are investments, but the expenses in fixed annuities versus variable annuities are way less. For example, and the reason why I can talk about this is because I was licensed to sell variable annuities for many, many years. Variable annuities have 3 different expenses. They have what's called a mortality and risk expense charge, okay? They have the portion of the insurance that guarantees growth in rate or growth in income, which is the portion that I talked about last as far as how insurance companies reward you with different types of rates. That's called their income guarantee with growth in income. And the third charge is what they call the separate account investment charge. Now, when you look at those 3 charges in a variable annuity, you're talking, if it's depending on the insurance company, an average of 3%. Average could even be higher than 3%. Whereas a fixed annuity sometimes doesn't even charge you to guarantee income and growth, depending on the contract. But in most cases, if we make this very general, you're talking about an average of 1% versus a variable annuity, which is over 3%. So the other thing is that in a variable annuity, it could lose money. You have no protection on the downside, as Where I was explaining the annuity before, the worst you could make is 0% on your money, which is a guarantee of not losing money. So the biggest significant difference between the two is the fact that you could lose money in a variable annuity, and a fixed index annuity, you cannot lose money.
Now, if someone was considering the purchase of a fixed indexed annuity, what question should they be asking?
So number one, when do you need the money? How old are you? When do you need the money? What's your risk tolerance? You know, if you're, let's use an example, say you're 50 years old. You're probably not going to want to use the money until you're in your 60s, which would make sense at that point to have some sort of a fixed index annuities. You want to ask questions as far as, you know, how long do I have to stay into this annuity before I can move out of it? For example, say I need liquidity. So one of the questions one of the things you want to make sure that you do with your advisor is make sure that you have enough liquidity, because these annuities are supposed to be left there. And you have to understand that there could be some penalties if you pull out of them prior to 59 and a half. So your age of when you buy the annuity, how long you're going to keep the annuity, you want to definitely ask, what are the charges, surrender charges, and expenses of the annuity. And other than that, they're pretty simple.
My guest has been Bruce Weinstein with Premier Southwest Planning Group in Scottsdale, Arizona, and this is Retirement News Online.